Hi Curious and welcome back. Once again, social media is proving that you really should think a few times before you post something, especially if it could be offensive or sensitive. This is exactly what happened with NBA star LeBron James when he took to his Twitter profile to comment on the recent tragedy in which Ma'Khia Bryant, a 16-year-old black girl from Columbus, Ohio, had lost her life. While the athlete promptly deleted the post and wrote a new one explaining himself, some people had already begun to criticize him for his actions. Could this have any negative effects on his career? Especially given that he is starring in Space Jam sequel titled A New Legacy, which is a movie aimed at kids. What had exactly happened? How did he explain his actions? Why has a bar in Cincinnati refused to show any more NBA games until the star is expelled from the league? And which high-profile politician had something to say on the matter? Stay with us until the very end to find out all about what had happened with regards to this NBA star, but before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. Space Jam had been one of the most beloved movies of the late 90s that had crossed the world of Looney Tunes and basketball. It starred Michael Jordan and of course his main co-star Bugs Bunny himself as they tried to defeat the aliens, and probably featured one of the most known songs that many associated with the film, I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly. And be it due to their love of the sport, the comedy of the film, or just pure nostalgia, not only for the movie but also the Looney Tunes characters, people have been excited for the sequel titled A New Legacy. Though after the trailer had dropped, it turns out that the excitement for some people have died down a little bit. But why is that? Before we explain why some are disappointed, let us tell you what the plot of the movie is. Basically, it follows the journey of LeBron as he tries to rescue his youngest son Dom after he becomes trapped in a virtual world by an evil AI program that is played by Don Cheadle. Once the two are reunited, the AI tells James that he must lead the Toon Squad, aka Bugs and Co., to victory over its digital basketball champions, who are known as the Goons. And they must do it if they wish to return to the real world. Now that sounds simple enough and enjoyable for a family movie. But what has people criticizing the trailer? As some eagle-eyed viewers had pointed out that in the trailer, as LeBron flies through the serververse, he passes two planets that are marked by visuals that make it clear they are supposed to represent Game of Thrones and The Wizard of Oz, two properties that are owned by Warner Media, which is a company owned by Warner Bros., which as some of you might be aware, owns the Looney Tunes and therefore is behind the production of the Space Jam movies. The Iron Giant, King Kong and Fred Flintstone all appear, and there are even the drugs from A Clockwork Orange and most likely many other Easter eggs. Though of course, that in itself does not really tease the movie's climax scenes, which most likely will be the basketball game itself. It still has some fans rolling their eyes. Why, you might ask? Because many movie fans reckon they will be relying on those small cameos with possible hints of nostalgia to try and get the viewers interested, with some internet users suggesting that it is a ploy to take people's attention away from the mediocre plot and get them excited by these characters popping up alone. Though of course, that is not something that can be commented on as the movie is set to be released on July 16th. And while some have been nitpicking the trailer and cameos from a lot of Warner Bros. Owned franchises, and the animation to be a cross between cartoon and real life in the movie due to recent events, many had also called to boycott the movie ahead of its theatre and HBO Max release this summer. According to MovieWeb, the head of the movement is alt-right internet personality Jack Posobiec, who took to his Twitter to post, "Boycott Space Jam, LeBron threatens police," and it seems that quite a big number of people had agreed with him, some even commenting that King James' hate for America runs deep. Though of course, there is always two sides of the coin, and many decided to troll Posobiec by commenting such things as the fact that he hates the movie so much it means they will now go to watch it while it gets released. What happened exactly that has made people want to boycott not only a kids movie but also the basketball player? To explain that to you, we'll give you a rundown of what actually happened that made James so angry. A few days ago, a police officer in Columbus, Ohio had taken the life of 16-year-old black girl called Ma'Khia Bryant. According to press reports, the officers were called to a house where a confrontation was taking place. Police were quick to release the body cam footage, which showed the scene on the street where the police were dispatched to. Ma'Khia was seemingly holding a blade and clashed with two people before the incident took place. Initially, city authorities said that the officer intervened to save the life of another girl that Bryant appeared to close in on. This all happened mere minutes before the jury had announced its guilty verdict in Minneapolis over last year's incident when a police officer took the life of George Floyd, which had made it one of the highest profile such criminal cases in history. Following the incident last year, there had been thousands of protests across the country and in other countries as the eyes of the world turned to the USA. The past year had been full of tensions and marked by even more protests. As soon as the news with regards to Bryant had come out, people were appalled and angered and had taken to their social media to express their thoughts. In this case, LeBron was no different, and it was his official tweet that had sparked this controversy, that had sparked outrage and caused people to call to boycott not only Space Jam: A New Legacy, but also NBA games. But more on that in a minute. Though if you want to know more about the basketball player, why not check out our previous video? But for now, stick around to find out what it was that he said that had caused such an outrage. It seems that letting anger and frustration get the better of him, the NBA star took to his social media to share a now deleted tweet which showed the officer that took Bryant's life with the message "You're next" and with the hashtag accountability and an hourglass emoji. He had also tweeted about accountability after the verdict in the Floyd case. Though of course, as you can imagine, he had later deleted the tweet and later had written, "Anger does any of us good, and that includes myself. Gathering all the facts and educating does though. My anger still is here for what happened to that little girl. My sympathy for her family, and may justice prevail." Later on, he followed up with another post that read, and we quote, "I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. This isn't about one officer. It's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. I am so desperate for more accountability." However, as you can imagine, and as he himself said in a later post, many took an issue with the tweet. One Twitter user had pointed out that it did more harm than good, and it gave racist people more ammunition against black people in America. Many had found it offensive and said that violence does not stop violence, and as we mentioned above, there had been some who had quickly called to boycott the Space Jam sequel, with some offended parents pointing out that he is now the star of a children's movie and that kids are going to be looking up to him, and yet he goes and writes such things on his social media which many deem to be harmful. But let us tell you, curious, that it's not just the movie that is being boycotted. Some have even decided to boycott NBA and all its games. Well, by some in this case, we are talking about a bar in Cincinnati. The owner of Linney's Pub in Delhi Township had vowed to not show any more games until LeBron was forced out of the league. Yes, you heard that right. The owner took to its Facebook to post, "If anyone wants to watch an NBA game, don't come to Linney's Pub. We will not air them until LeBron James has been expelled from the NBA." Though it seems that the basketball player wasn't too bothered himself, as he took to his social media to share a news article about it with the caption, "Aw damn, I was headed there to watch our game tonight and have a drink. Welp." As well, so far there have been no serious actions taken against him for the tweet, and it is unclear if there will be. It shows that it is a good idea to think first, people, before posting on social media, as it might cost someone their job, such as was the case of Gina Carano, whose Instagram post cost her the role on Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. And if you want to know more about what happened to her and other stars who lost their jobs due to careless behavior, you can check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. Despite still being banned from Twitter, former US President Donald Trump had to make his opinion known on this matter. On Thursday, April 22nd, Trump had issued a statement that took issue with the statement made by LeBron. In it he said, and we quote, "LeBron James should focus on basketball rather than presiding over the destruction of the NBA, which has just recorded the lowest television ratings by far in the long and distinguished history of the league. His racist rants are divisive, nasty, insulting, and demeaning. He may be a great basketball player, but he is doing nothing to bring our country together." As of the making of this video, the NBA player has not publicly commented on Donald's statement. So curious, what are your thoughts on LeBron's deleted tweet? Do you think people had the right to be outraged at it? Or was it simply his anger getting the better of him in the moment? Should the NBA really take any action against him? And what are your thoughts on Trump's statement? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. Until next time.